You have to be careful about making a weird show or watching a weird show.
Hello, this is Greg Smalley on Pod 366, a Weird Movies podcast, joined today, as I often am, by the inedible Giles Edwards.
Hello, everyone, and hopefully you see me and not some crackling green screen.
Yes, we're seeing a crackling green screen, which has its own kind of appeal. But before we've seen this, and it's looked perfectly clear on the recording, so we shall see. Today, what do we have today? Oh, a bunch of movies today and some news. I'm going to announce a little bit of not so important news, but something to announce that I heard about just before we went on the recording here. That is the Estonian musical Chainsaws Were Singing has been acquired by Dark Star and is set for a fall release. Giles has seen Chainsaws Are Singing and I believe recommended it. So
Yeah, it's a fun little project. The filmmakers were a delight to chat to. It, I have all this in the interview we got on 366. Yes, it was 10 years in the making for this, that, and the other reason. So I imagine they are quite pleased that this will finally come out for everyone streaming and probably what these people do physical. Yes, no, eventually something.
yeah, I'm sure they will. So that was just a little bit of news. Then let me get on to the more major topics
Mm.
to discuss this week. I'm going to put them all up so we can see everything on the slate, and then I'm going to just take them all off until we only have one left. And this is a piece
Okay.
of news that kind of broke yesterday as we're recording it. So 2 days ago, probably as you're listening to this, I have a still here, which Giles, well, not a still, but a photograph, an on-set
Yeah.
photograph, which Giles will kindly describe for the vision-impaired viewers.
Yeah, well, considering the quality of the image here, I'm wondering if this might have been a publicity still for behind the scenes kind of look. Took me a moment to see what this might have to do with anything, but upon seeing a very old, beautiful bubble top Panavision reflex camera dominating the entire left hand of the image here, with a couple of people standing in the background to the right near some spotlights and so on, and a distinguished short-haired fella looking through the camera lens there, very studiously observing whatever that's pointed at. A bit stubbly, but oh wait, that might be a grease paint beard because by golly, if he doesn't have that sort of big white clown mouth outline as well. So considering the vintage and who I believe that is, and given away by the sticker on the side of the camera, this could be big news for a number of people who've been wondering about this for decades.
Yes, and the camera has a sticker. The individual gazing through the camera is, in fact, Jerry Lewis.
Yeah, that's it.
And the sticker on
Who's
the
that guy with Dean Martin? Yeah, Jerry Lewis.
and the sticker on the camera reads,
Oh, now I'm definitely breaking
it reads the day the, and then there's a primitive emoji of a clown cried. Giles, are you there? We have lost Giles. Giles, attempt to rejoin us. In the meantime, I will describe this news. This is yesterday a Swedish channel, the Swedish TV channel SVT, announced that an employee of the company that co-produced The Day the Clown Cried illegally copied reels from the workprint onto VHS tape way back in the 1980s. And on the website, we will link to that you can view a clip from the interview, which is in Swedish, but there are English captions if you scroll down to the bottom. It announces the discovery of this work print and includes interview with the guy who stole the film and transferred it to VHS. And you can see some scenes from the movie in it. Now, on the off chance that you don't know what The Day the Clown Cried is or why it's a big deal, I'll relate the story quickly. In the early 1970s, slapstick comedian Jerry Lewis made a sincerely intended drama movie about a clown who's sentenced to a concentration camp where he entertains children before they're sent to the gas chamber. He was enormously proud of it when he made it, but when he was previewing the dailies to some friends, their reaction was, we should say, not encouraging. For one thing, Harry Shearer was quoted as saying, "The movie is so drastically wrong, its pathos and comedy are so wildly misplaced, that you could not, in your fantasy of what it might be like, improve on what it really is." In other words, it's a so bad, it's weird movie, according to Harry Shearer. Lewis and also the screenwriter of the film shelved the movie, insisted it should never be released. Lewis relented late in life and donated some incomplete footage to the Library of Congress with the stipulation that it could not be shared until June 2024. So people have seen this incomplete footage and could only be publicly screened with permission from his estate, which I believe has never been granted, and would not be put on physical media. And so the difference here is that this is a relatively complete work print, and it could theoretically be restored and released, even if it's only in an unofficial and unsanctioned underground version. Giles, are you back?
I hope so. Yes, I suppose my little Dean Martin quip might have pushed him too far.
Yeah.
But here I am.
I can see you, so.
All right, that's a major step forward.
All right. While you were gone, I described the story of the Day the Clown Cried for anybody who might not be familiar with it. Can you still see the still, Giles?
Yes, I can.
All right. So, after knowing that I've already just given the background, is there anything you feel you should add?
Oh, nothing in particular. I've only ever kind of, known about this. I think at one point on the servers of my college, there was a full script for it that had been picked up somewhere somehow. So I think I actually have a copy of that on my hard drive. But no, I'm more or less just glad that such a thing can still happen this day and age.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, it won't, if this is released, it'll be an underground circulating version. It won't be an official release. But it's exciting news, I suppose, to everyone who has been following this story. It's the kind of thing where it's almost certain to disappoint, I think, once you actually see it. It could never live up to the legend that's been building up over decades about this.
Oh, though in its defense, probably nothing really could. So
yeah, nothing really could. I think I quoted Harry Shearer. I think he may have oversold it a bit, but we shall see, or maybe we'll see. We'll see. Some more news.
Oh, okay.
You want to describe this, Giles? Rather busy promotional image that you don't have to describe in great detail.
Yeah, this sort of is reminiscent to me of like one of those large form vinyl covers that's got like all kinds of hit songs on it. There's some wavy, bright yellow name of the provider of this emerging from the oscillation or the outward expanding oscillations of a central ovaloid shape on the top, Benner top, about taking up about a third, and bottom right is we are reassured in friendly capital letters and an exclamation mark that all that's on here is coming soon. And what this is are a whole bunch of titles and all kinds of different classic and pertinent fonts for the various offerings that are from this source and will be, I believe, coming streaming. So not to give everything away, we can look forward to 70s smut.
Mhm.
We can look forward to Wrestling She-Babes, films of David F. Friedman, of course, and, a bunch of other things with pertinent snapshots and occasional little drawings, and all looking very busy, but very peppy, too.
Yeah, texploitation even. I'm not 70s smut, texploitation. So this is something weird sub-channel, I guess. The Something Weird video library has been licensed to a company, a streaming company called Cultpix, and probably immediately catapults them into a much higher stratosphere. Because I think I'd heard of Cultpix, not quite sure, but now that they have apparently all of Streaming Weird's, Something Weird's offering streaming, I think they're much more attractive. I think a lot of these will also, I read, be simultaneously licensed to Tubi, not all of them. And Something Weird's catalog contains lots and lots of exploitation movies. They also contain stuff that really qualifies as early Deep Throat era hardcore movies. I don't know if those would be included in this set or not. The most exciting titles, well, first off, there's this entire collection of exploitation films owned by David F. Friedman, which probably comprises about half of the total catalog. There's Herschel Gordon Lewis, Joseph Sarno, Barry Mahon, but probably the biggest and most important name for us is Doris Wishman, who, of course, has a film in the canonically weird canon and another film in the apocryphally weird canon. So,
not duty.
If that's not a contradiction in terms. And the films of Doris Wishman were previously available on the Criterion Channel, and I don't know if they still will be, or if that license will expire and they will move exclusively over to this new Cultpix channel. We'll have to wait, but that starts on June 1st, which is next Sunday. So Sunday.
Yeah.
So tune in then for Something Weird's video channel. Also, another movie of note. There are a lot of movies of note on it for a certain type of viewer. The movie from which the entire brand gets its name, Something Weird, was by Herschel Gordon Lewis, and it is itself very worthy of looking at. It has witches and LSD and psychics in it, and it's one of the rare Herschel Gordon Lewis movies with no gore, but just sort of craziness. So that's worth looking at also. Moving along. Now we're into something that is sort of in theaters. Would you like to describe this poster, Giles?
I will do my best. It sort of looks like an elaborate playbill to me, with embossed elements. There's a red curtain motif covering the two vertical sides and the top horizontal there, framing stage like the title, the subtitle, a lovely lithographed bird on a branch resting above in very tiny print the director's name, and at the bottom there are three stylized blue wavy lines, which to me and to probably virtually anyone who'd see this suggests some sort of flowing water imagery. And I guess also of note is a cryptic series of, looks like maybe three or four symbols stacked vertically in a kind of cartouche formation on the bottom right-hand side, whose meanings I wouldn't hazard to guess.
Nope, don't know what that is. Little hieroglyphics there. This is a poster for an evening song for three voices, uh, which, confession, when I put this on, I did not, on the list for coverage this week, I did not carefully check the dates. This is screening in Los Angeles as we speak tonight. And so by the time you watch this, it will be done. So you will not be able to catch it unless you saw us link it on Blue Sky, where we mentioned that it would be screening in Los Angeles. It's a new, although it was made in 2023, it is a new release. It has just been released played New York and Los Angeles, and so far has no other screenings scheduled that I know of, but would expect it to show up on VOD relatively soon if they don't screen it anywhere in any other art house venues across the country. A very inexpensively made independent art house film, which I have seen, but more importantly, Giles Edwards has seen and reported on for our site. So, Giles, if you'd like to quickly summarize your review for those who haven't read it.
Yeah. Yeah, the story takes place sort of over the course of a year, 1939 to 1940, in a middle of nowhere Iowa, where East Coast, probably New York City writers Barbara and Richard have relocated and take on as staff a young woman, very quiet, very pious, but also in her way very intense. And it's about their developing relationships with and around each other, based loosely on the Barbara Newell Follett situation. She was a young genius writer. She had a novel published when she was 12 years old and had another one when she was 14, both of them very highly regarded. And she disappeared at the age of 25 in 1939. So yeah, this is an evening song, is sort of thinks about various elements of that story and writing in general. Very much there's a spiritual and supernatural element going on. It's a small movie. It's got three people, but I found it to be rather fascinating to watch it.
Yeah, and the reason we're including it is because it's although it's an experimental style of filmmaking. One thing that Giles didn't stress in his review, but I think is very important for why we're even looking at it, is the visual elements of it, which is a lot of it looks kind of like gently faded photographs, and
Yeah.
is a great deal of one image bleeding into another and being overlaid over another throughout it, as there is of the three narrators, their voices at times overlapping each other's, also to form some sort of babble poetry, and it's going for a dreamlike effect a lot of times and exceeding at that on a low budget. So that's why we are choosing to cover it, despite the fact that it is essentially as I said, an indie art house drama, but does have an experimental style. And so we urge you to check it out if you can, assuming you are able to handle sort of minimalist, slow-paced, dreamlike dramas, which many people love. But moving on to another movie, now has been on VOD, now on Blu-ray, and is, I gather, much faster paced.
Oh man, yeah, the tempo for this movie was absolutely nuts, and it just the final. I recall the climax is this just beautifully orchestrated smashing together of all the different characters and the storylines converging over, I'd say, about 90 seconds of just constant development as the everything becomes resolved. Against the odds there. So yeah, this is a still. We can see there's it's interior. It's open plan living room section of suburban looking house. Beautiful magenta paintwork, I want to say, that we can see off to the right here, and two guys looking relaxed in their mid to late 20s, sitting on a green couch, and one or both of them have got to be high in this scene. But yeah, this was a very borderline case for me from Fantasia last summer, because it's just odd things going on, strange characters, and a bizarre recurring gag involving the pronunciation of hands, but as Hans. That is never explained. It only just sort of like hits you every now and again. So,
and it is
Rats.
Rats. And it is now, as I said, it has been on VOD, is now on Blu-ray. Let me look at that offering. There are bonus features include, oh my gosh, very sort of bawdy humor here. The director's commentary about MILFs, DILFs, and KILFs. I don't want to know what KILFs are, but there are three separate commentaries, or one commentary or commentary split into three parts. There is a feature called I Love Selling Crack, TYBG, but doesn't explain what it is really. Some behind the scenes stuff. Larry bathes himself on the set of Rats, something called that. Another short film, which is called With Pleasure, some deleted scenes, blumpkins, bloopers, I guess, and more. Poster and an essay. It's from Yellow Veil Pictures.
Good choice.
Yeah. And the tagline is, I lost my virginity watching Rats. Did you? So, sort of, as I say, bawdy humor.
Oh, bawdy is a good old timey word for it.
What's a better word for it since you've seen it, Giles?
Oh, gee,
obscene?
Obscene, yeah. There's a fair amount of obscene, and it straddles that area. Yeah, a lot of it's dumb, but cleverly so. A lot of it's vulgar, but not refreshingly little gross out. But then again, I'm saying that having seen a lot of what I've seen, and certainly that festival, seeing a lot there. But yeah, it's in its very vulgar way is also kind of a cute movie.
Okay, sort of a John Waters feel to it, I think, is why we're looking at it. We have another movie on Blu-ray. We are into the Blu-ray section of the film. I have included this back cover, I believe, of the Blu-ray because it lists a lot of features. Giles, do you want to describe, though, what you see?
Sure. We have in a sort of jagged scroll kind of thing. Title of the movie, left-hand side, we got a whole lot of specs that with my middle-aged vision I'm not able to read right now. Various blurbs about the story, special edition features, blah, 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 blah. The one picture included shows a sort of dowdy but not unattractive older man awkwardly leaning in to kiss a very blandly handsome younger guy. And judging from the hairstyles and the clothing and the fact that I know what this movie is, this has a retro feel to it. Very, the younger fellow is very clean cut, kind of guy, and so the image itself is described well by the title.
Because this movie is queer, and I mean, it literally is titled Queer, not just a queer movie. This movie is queer. It stars Daniel Craig as William Lee, which of course is the pseudonym for William Burroughs, William H. Burroughs, that he used. So pretty transparent. I don't know how much based on fact it is, but it's an idea of a male romance between Burroughs and an expatriate soldier. It's directed by Luca Guadagnino, who has directed a lot of things. You may remember him from the Suspiria remake. And it was suggested that we look into it by a reader, which is why we're looking into it, because I was not really inclined to look at this one personally before that. But hey, if a reader suggests we look into it, we will look into it.
Yeah, certainly the subject matter. And I watched the trailer, and flirting within that trailer were some odd elements.
Well, we shall see. We shall see. It is about William S. Burroughs. We've covered a lot of William S. Burroughs on the site. People like William S. Burroughs. I mean, not people like his writing, not necessarily as a human being, but people are fascinated by William Burroughs, so we should say. So we've done a lot of William Burroughs. The special edition features on this Blu-ray are filmmaker commentary with the director, costume designer, writer, editor, and production designer, a making of queer featurette, some scene breakdowns, VFX breakdowns, miniature behind the scenes. So there's a lot of visual effects in this, despite it being essentially a romantic drama, a music video, and a set of collectible postcards. And I do believe this comes from A24.
Oh, yes. This the trailer certainly screened A24.
Yeah.
Okay. Figuratively speaking.
That is queer, the queer Blu-ray. Moving on to another. This one's a box set cover, which Giles will endeavor to describe.
All right, so top half, we have the title of the name of the collection, and also black background with the sort of a praying angel-esque figurine in stone. We view this person basically from the wrists upwards, so we see some wings. Might be a butterfly, actually. I don't know. It's kind of unclear. Definitely a sort of clay or stone-looking feel to this woman. And cleverly of them, or somehow or another, just very lucky, there are two black gaps that fit within the picture of the statue-looking thing that kind of mimic where the eye holes would be for the face of a woman who dominates the bottom half of this image, where we see her nose, a bit of her right ear, lips, and a sort of closed expression, hard to say. High-collared, fashionable shirt with some medallions and jewelry chain work thereabouts, and I might be seeing a little sort of silk scarf thing. And the background to her is this nice baby crimson, pastel crimson with some plant things providing a nature motif. And so these two halves comprise the front of a second volume of a rarities collection.
Yes, and this is House of Psychotic Women 2. House of Psychotic Women 1, I believe, was covered on our site by L. Rob Hubbard, who likes to buy these types of box sets. At any rate, some of the individual films were also covered. I believe, Giles, you may have covered the Elizabeth Taylor one.
Oh, yes, yes.
What was the name of that one?
Yeah, what indeed?
Identikit.
That's it.
Identikit. So here's more of them. The four movies included here are Butterfly Kiss, Morgiana, The Savage Eye, and The Glass Ceiling, and it includes lots and lots of short films as well are included with this, and lots of special features. I am unfamiliar with all of these films, so they are rarities, except for one, Morgiana, which I have not seen but know about. It is by Juraj Herz, who was the director of The Cremator and Beauty and the Beast. Let me read their description of it. They give a bunch of critics' quotes which call it haunting, gorgeously Baroque, a deliriously exciting cult gem, and also say it's considered to be the final film of the Czech New Wave, although I would dispute that. It was made in 1972. When the wealthy father dies, cruelly jealous Victoria will lead her naively trusting sister Clara, both portrayed in a frightening, stellar performance by legendary Czech actress Iva Janzurova, into a gothic nightmare of deception, blackmail, and murder. So that's that. I do know it has a very wonderful soundtrack by the same composer who did The Cremator. I know that because it's on the CD release of the Cremator soundtrack that I got, and it's very excellent music. I'm ashamed that his name escapes me. The other ones, Butterfly Kiss was done by Michael Winterbottom, so it shouldn't be that rare. It stars Amanda Plummer. The Savage Eye is by Sidney Myers, and I don't know how rare that is either. The Glass Ceiling is by Eloy de la Iglesia from 1971. I do not know that one either. The theme of these all, of course, is psychotic women. Giles, do you have any more insight to add to any of those?
No, but I guess I'll say I'm looking forward to L. Rob Hubbard's review.
He may very well review it. Let's do this one next, because Giles, I hope, can explain stuff about this one. Give us some hint of what's going on in this Blu-ray cover.
All right, we've got a lot going on here, but nothing beyond what happens with the normal comic book adaptation these days. It's a dark, overcast thing happening here. There's a beam of green energy. I don't know if it's going down into the destroyed city or up into the moon-shaped thing. Oh, and on this moon, there is totally some sort of hyper demonized looking person forthrightly partaking in maybe intercourse with a lithe, blonde, anime-styled woman. They're up there in the skies over things, if you will, being fiendish. And down at the bottom, we've got an array of what looks like 4 human characters and one that isn't, playfully, some of them playfully arranged on the screen. in a kind of general, oh, here's a bunch of superheroes, many of them young thing going on. So there's a lot of doom. There's an incongruous YA Japanese animation element going on. And of course, there is the massive planetoid looming ominously over. I'm pretty sure that's Earth that's seen better days.
All right, and Giles, you will have to try to pronounce the title for us.
I believe it is Urotsukidoji.
Urotsukidoji, Legend of the Overfiend. So it is, this is one that gets a little, like a lot of Japanese releases, it gets a little confusing. For example, the Neon Genesis Evangelion series was so confusing because there was a TV series and then alternate endings and movies put together. So what is this? It says it's one movie and 3 OVAs.
Yeah, I'm going to guess that since this was probably straight to consumer, and that those days the best consumer could hope for would be video disc. It had to be broken into its 3 not quite hour long or slightly over an hour long chunks in order for because of data storage issues. It is all one movie, one story. I hunted down in late 90s there was a unedited supercut of everything that had a very limited release. So I dropped about $100 on that, not anticipating that 5 years later there would be a much more reasonably priced Blu-ray of the whole shoot match.
What format did you see it on? DVD?
DVD.
Yeah. It says that the entire runtime is 4 hours and 5 minutes. So before we even discuss the plot, just so I understand, are the OVAs and the movie different, or is the movie like a version of the OVAs that's been put into movie format?
No, I'm half guessing here, but the OVA is it's like a DVD except it's got less memory, and so the reason this would be splattered over 3 of these is because this was a long movie that had to be broken up into parts just because of those limitations. We do have less than a minute left. I don't know how far you want to dive into this, or if we're going to meet up again for.
Why don't we pause and come back and finish off this in the last one if you are up for that?
Yeah.
I didn't see the time running out, so we're going to pause and come back for us in just a few minutes, of course, for you in no time at all. So see you momentarily. Hello, we're back with the blurry Giles Edwards, and we are going to continue discussing this Urotsukidoji. Urotsukidoji. I wonder if Iratsu is a variation on erotic, because I know the word ero have adapted it from English for erotic stuff. So, but at any rate, Giles, you had some more to tell us about.
Yeah, I went over my review, went to the Wikipedia article, and dug up the formerly best.
Well, hold on. We'll have to. I have to stop the share. Hold that up to the screen again.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So this formerly was where you would hope to get everything. Its runtime is the same as the new Blu-ray coming out. And from my understanding of sifting through a couple online sources, there's the movie version, which is a condensed standalone thing that tells the story of the story of the legend of the Overfiend, with the 3-part OVA being the sort of standalone, I guess maybe mini-series-esque kind of things with broader coverage of various subplots that were found in the original manga that was released. This was first available in the US courtesy of the good people at Penthouse Magazine, who were, I guess, trying to get on the ground floor for something that, while very much a thing, isn't so much a thing, at least stateside. That thing being tentacle porn.
Yeah, this was the origin of tentacle porn, which was a
To the best of my knowledge. So yeah, this is very comprehensive and now available for cheap home ownership. And yeah, it's the kind of movie that's a bit all over the place tone wise. Lots of cutesy comedy, but also lots of ultra violence and rapey things going on. So it's definitely, it's an experience and a very long form experience at that.
And it is, not to be shy, it is actual like porn with
Yes,
tentacles.
yes. Yeah, they at least in the DVD release, I made a note in my review that there were over half a dozen advisories before the start of the feature. One of them promising that each of the cast of characters were at least 19 years of age. I guess
being cartoon characters.
right. Yes, 19-year or older cartoons. So yeah, this this doesn't shy away from anything at all.
But how much of the movie does that take up? Is it
Yeah, that's a good question. It's been about 5 years since I've seen it the one time. I'd say a lot of it, but not all, or maybe not even necessarily most of it, because there's certainly plenty of room for violence, and also there's just characters being characters with their day-to-day things going on. One of the main characters is this absolute lose. Well, I'll be judgmental, sure. This how do I? Yeah, this. Yeah, whelp of a high school student who I guess maybe not high school since he's at least 19, or maybe he's been held back. It's not terribly clear. Some sort of oldish but youngish academic setting, and he's getting up to various boyish lewdness with himself and others. And then the various other characters who have encounters with the demons that are breaking more and more into the day-to-day reality of humanity and all that. There's a bit of an older explanation thing with a very Nazi-like Dr. Munchausen character who's involved. So it is an epic.
Yeah. So it's not. It is a regular movie with explicit scenes.
Oh yeah,
not like an adult movie where there's like a 1 minute introduction and then a 10-minute sex scene.
Yeah, you if you want to follow the narrative, which you can, and I recommend it because it's an interesting story, you will not. Yeah, there's plenty of story and action and exposition, and that might be a bad word for it, but yes, this is a movie with plenty of sex.
Yeah, and it is weird.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so that is, say the name?
Urotsukidoji.
Legend of the Overfiend, on Blu-ray for those perverts who are interested in it.
I guess I'll close out. I will be happy to be corrected if I've misguessed anything about the distribution or specific nature, because sort of throwing together the spiel right before we're recording here, because it's a complicated distribution story.
Yeah, I'm sure you have, and I would not be surprised if somebody chimed in with more detailed information about that. So that was the main one. Now we only have one more to discuss. It is another, I believe, it is an Ultra HD and Blu-ray release. Do you want to describe this cover, Giles?
Sure. We have a young brunette woman, shoulder-length hair. She's wearing something dark, or at least is blending in with the screen with something dark. And she, crossing her face is her bloodied left arm with a nice rectangular watch on it, which is being almost seemingly held up against her mouth by her right hand. She seems to be kissing it, maybe, maybe something more.
Hmm. Yeah, very bloody image for a cover, and it is In My Skin by Marina Devan. Now, probably should have mentioned this right after House of Psychotic Women because this is clearly a psychotic woman. I have not seen the movie, and it's released by the same company, Severin, as House of Psychotic Women, and has an introduction by Kier LaJanice, who is the curator of House of Psychotic Women. So these two releases are kind of linked.
Oh,
This it's a movie about a woman who gets a leg injury and then develops sort of a masochistic tendency and begins mutilating herself. And despite that exploitation style premise, it's generally viewed as a very well made and artistically made movie. As I say, I haven't seen it. A long time ago, it was reviewed for our site by Pamela DeGraff, probably 10 years ago. It was reviewed.
We're looking at, let's see, it's 2016.
16 years ago. So going on 2 decades ago. At that time, it had a DVD release, I believe. Now it's lingered in the minds of people, and it's getting a rather huge release because they are advertising 7 hours of bonus features on it, including some of the things you would get on this Blu-ray / UHD, or commentary by the writer-director, another commentary by Fantasia's film festival programmer Justine Smith. Do you know Justine?
I've met her.
Yeah.
Very fascinating, educated woman.
Okay. Interview with Marina Devan. Another woman has an essay on it, another essay on it. I think that might be a Q&A. No, it's something called a Faculty of Horror episode, which I don't know what that is. Maybe it's a podcast, some trailers, and about 4 to 5, it looks like, 4 shorts from Marina Devan. So lots of stuff in there for fans of this film. Anything you have to add to that, Giles?
No, nothing. Just confirming Faculty of Horror is a podcast.
Yeah, that's what I figured, yeah. So that's that. And that is it for this week. Giles is breaking up, so it's good that we got finished. And he's back, and he's breaking up again. We'll see if that shows up on the recording. But yeah, we're done. Next week we don't have a true guest, but we will have L. Rob Hubbard on. So
all right.
that's sort of like a guest.
He's always a pleasure.
He's always a pleasure, yes. And he's on, of course, to talk about one of his favorite movies, which is having a major release next week, On the Silver Globe, which we've talked about multiple times, finally coming to North America.
Oh, yeah.
So that will be next week. It's always possible we could have a surprise guest, but I don't anticipate one. And we will simply see you then to discuss the week's weird news and reports. So we are out of here. Giles, any final words?
No. Thank you kindly for listening. And looking forward to the contest that's still ongoing. Yes, for the.
Oh yeah, anybody who's listening, you have a few days until Sunday to log into 366weirdmovies.com and enter our contest to win a copy of our book. The second volume should also be releasing in June, pushed back from May. But you can win a copy of the first edition by nominating 3 of our apocryphally weird list candidates to be promoted to Apocrypha. Or just comment and say that you want to enter the contest, and I'll take that too. One lucky randomly selected commenter will win a copy of the book, and then we will put up a poll for which movie should immediately join the Apocrypha.
Wonderful.
The other thing we should always say is like and subscribe, but most importantly, watch it repeatedly and keep it on in the background and make it the soundtrack to your daily life.
Exactly. You know, our dulcet tones will help you get through the day.
All right. So thanks, everyone. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Weird. Yeah, I guess that is the word for it. Weird.